And we are back. Welcome to another episode of the BJJ Podcast. I'm Mushmaster Tim Spriggs, and with me as always, every week is...
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Nico Ball, the girl that is incapable of actually fixing her microphone before we hit record. And y'all, I am the one that hits record, so I don't know how I do that. Want to say sorry to everybody, since I am the one that also hits record. I am the reason why we fucked up for 4 whole episodes. 4. Never have we ever filmed so much on one day. We were so busy. We were so stressed out. Put in this work. We put in that work, and zero sound. I was blown. Like I was blown. But yeah, so we had 1 week scheduled off, and then 1 week where we were off because I fucked up. Thank you all for rocking with us, and sorry about that.
Yep, real sorry that we didn't have any episodes for you for the last 2 weeks. We've been doing a really good job since Nico and I started collaborating, and that's the longest break that I think that we've had in almost 3 years. It's been a long time. We shouldn't have left you, but we're back.
Yeah, it is. It's wild. We're sorry about that. So, not on the outline, but definitely something that I'm just going to just throw out there. Now we want to try to plan a town hall for our Patreon members. I don't think we missed Patreon. So if you're a Patreon member, we've been going strong on the 1st and the 15th. Still, despite having missed some normal episodes. So if you're not a Patreon member, you can slide over to patreon.com/BJJGoons. You can sign up for $5 a month. You can get access to all of our bonus episodes. So we drop 2 bonus episodes a month. Not gonna lie, town halls are supposed to be monthly. They're not. So, just hold us accountable. And I'm bringing this up because, Patreon said it would be dope to have a town hall by the end of the year. I know Tim had said, maybe January. Are you, super duper busy? Is that why you said January? Because it is virtual. I think
we could do it.
Shove it in, right before the end. I don't know.
I have a show on the 26th, the 30th, maybe next week too. But those are only 2 days. Besides that, I have something really important on the 28th. But besides those 3 days, I could do it sometime between now and the end of the year. So if you guys are interested, all our Patreon listeners, hit us up on our Discord.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll put it and throw out some dates because, one thing that's been, really killing us is I've been working 2 jobs. So I literally, Monday through Thursday, I'm working from, 8 a.m. till 10. And I didn't have a car, so I wasn't getting home till 11 o'clock. Now I have a car, so that's really dope. So I do get home a little bit easier, but it's been absolutely positively exhausting. So I think maybe, and then so I'm off that night job. First of all, I quit the job because one of them just really sucks. So I quit a while ago, but I'm a teacher, so I wanted to, maintain my commitment, and I'll be teaching the entirety of the level, as they call it. I wouldn't, as a professional, call it an entire level, but whatever. I'll be teaching them entirety of the level till January 5th, but I'm off on the 18th. I have 1 more week, so maybe we can plan a weekday evening when you're free, and try to fit it in either before Christmas, leave y'all chill during Christmas, or right before the end of the new year. So if you are a Patreon, keep an eye out in the Discord or on the actual Patreon for a message asking about your availability.
Couldn't have said it better myself. A lot has changed since the last time we were on the show. A lot of things have happened. Our outlines went completely out the window for the most part. Nogi Worlds is going on as we speak. I saw that Bones, Devontae Johnson, is competing. I root for all the black people in jiu-jitsu. I definitely want him to win. I don't care who he's fighting unless it's a teammate. Shout out to a young man that I trained when he was a little boy until I resigned from Crazy 88. Little Devin Riley. He's not little no more. He's a man now. So Devin Riley, he won Blue Belt Worlds at the Nogi World. So congratulations, Devin. I'm really happy for you to see how you've grown as a person and as a martial artist. Can I go on a slight, veer off a little bit? I would like to say that it's very rewarding to be even a small part of someone's journey into becoming a better person. I believe that coaching is a vocation, And I believe that if you're going to do coaching, it shouldn't be for selfish reasons. I don't think you should have money in mind when you're trying to teach someone martial arts. And it's very important as people that have a skill like martial arts that you are a good person or try to be, and that you put yourself into someone when you're building them up. And it's very rewarding seeing how people grow and mature. I think that if it wasn't for people that cared about my development as a martial artist and being in a positive environment where people cared about me as a person, I would not be anywhere near the person that I am today. I would be far worse off if I didn't have people that try to build me up. And I'm really lucky that, I had a guy like Master Lloyd that wanted to teach jiu-jitsu and didn't want to just leave or go somewhere else and join some other team and build something on his own, and made it possible for people that typically wouldn't have been able to do jiu-jitsu to do it. And to see someone like Devin Riley, who I remember when he was a little kid, and he was a pretty crazy little kid, but despite chance at times where he pissed off the coaches or like got in trouble or, just doing things that kids do, and to see the growth of someone, that's really special. And that goes beyond the clout chasing in the community. It goes beyond just trying to get over in the media or trying to just win or all that other bullshit. At the end of the day, martial arts is supposed to teach you how to protect yourself and grow as a better person, not necessarily winning championships. However, winning a championship the right way and getting to that point where you've built up all your skills and you've grown as a person, yeah, medals don't really mean much, but it is it's a sign that you've accomplished something, that you made it to some kind of level in a competition. And it shows that the hard work is paid off. And congratulations to him. That kind of made my morning. So shout out to him.
Yeah, that's really dope. And then what you say about like really being invested in your students' progress, and because I myself am a student, so I feel this as more on a professional level. When I have to step into the shoes of my clients, or for example with Today Kids Project, like I'm the only one that has consistent access to today's stuff. So like anything that has to do with like the FT team on IBJJF, like I'm the one that has to go in and handle it. Like, so it's always been like, oh, okay, like I get to like step up and like almost be today. Or when I used to go in and register athletes, like I have at least 7 athletes registrations into their IBJJF. Because when I pay for them, like a lot of times I have to go in and I'll register them. Like, even though that really annoys me, if I'm going to have to pay for your stuff, please just set it up so I can just go in and pay for it. Like, I shouldn't have to put in your weight class and all of that.
Wow.
But I was thinking about it, in the sense of working with a new client and like how I'm doing like their social media and everything. And like when I do that, I pretty much kind of go in, it's like stepping into like Voltron or stepping into a show where I get to pretend to be this person. And I don't mean to do it in a way like, oh yeah, I am them. I hate those little damn balls. They fall off all the time. Nobody touches those balls. I don't know how they get unscrewed. But yeah, so I'm like just really excited to be working with this new client, and like they'll pay me something, but like I want to see his numbers increase. Like I want to see him get paid more, and like I'm just completely invested into like the brand, I guess it is. And I feel like we don't always see that. Like I don't feel like people just being so authentic in wanting their teammates or their people to win, and like really just embracing it and supporting it, and like that joy of like, especially when it's like your student or somebody like you raised, because you see yourself imprinted in them, like, oh, I taught them how to do that, or like, I was there with them, and like seeing them suffer through it and like want to cry at the end of training to the point where it clicks and they get it, and like as someone that left home at like 18 or 16, really, I really like value people that know who I am, that know my name is Nicole, that know me as Nikki and not Nico, which there are very few people like that can hold me accountable. And as we kind of go into this new social media age where we're meeting so many people and nobody really knows the real us, like I really value those people, my tribe that knows me, like my team. That's been there with me. And I also like I see that in like the homegrown people. Like I've switched around. I've only been on TLI for 3 years, so I also feel like I don't have that like family because I'm part of so many different families and stuff. So I think that's just really dope. We talk a lot about the negative aspects of jiu-jitsu a lot and things that frustrate us, but we also need to celebrate those beautiful things.
That team feeling, man. Nothing like it. Going out in the battle with your homies.
And I think a lot of us struggle with it, especially the people of color, especially people out in the middle of nowhere. So just keep in mind, like, there are people out here that, like, even if we're not there physically with you, we're there with you. Like, I was posting on the Instagram, like, when your coach told you, like, don't do that, and then you go do that. And I said, like, yo, let us help you. Like if you're a Patreon member, you could message Tim, and like he might not answer, but like if you hit him up on the Discord and he don't see it and I see it, I'm gonna be like, yo, fucking Tim, somebody's hitting you up. Like you actually have access to him. So like we are here to be a community, not just to like take your money. We love the money, but like no, we're here for community. The money ain't helping if we don't have that gang to rock with us.
Yeah, give me something to do jiu-jitsu related.
So and like as more as he tries to be like in wrestling, like if you guys reach out, if you guys have questions, if you guys have concerns, like especially it's seasonal depression, right? And like part of the episodes that got deleted were us talking about how fucking stressed we are right now. And we know everybody is, and I know sometimes people don't like to like ask because they're like, oh, I don't want to infringe on somebody's peace, or like I don't want to be a burden. But you know, some like there is nothing better sometimes than waking up like feeling really truly depressed, like you're a failure because you have no money and you're a whole fucking grown adult, but you decided to do jiu-jitsu instead of getting a real job. And then you get like a message of somebody being like, you know, I really love the BJJ goons, it's like really helped me. Like that shit means everything. And sometimes, I don't know about you, I get those messages when I need them the most. And it's not money, but it's like that's what keeps me going. So, you know, join the squad, reach out. We love y'all.
Join the Patreon and ask me jiu-jitsu questions. And if you're a Patreon, just hit me up because I have a lot to prove as far as instructing. I believe that I know a lot about jiu-jitsu and I can break it down pretty well. And I have a chip on my shoulder about that. So if you want me to help you destroy people at jiu-jitsu, just hit me up on the Discord. But you got to be a Patreon member. And to become a Patreon member, just go to patreon.com/BJJGoons. We got a Discord. We have bonus episodes. We have town halls. And if you're really nice to me and you hit me up, I can help break down your matches and maybe make a game plan for you. But nonetheless, thanks for supporting. Shout out to Devin. Congratulations. Shout out to Team Lloyd Irvin, the greatest grappling team in the history of America. Now, we talked about some positives. We talked about wanting to be good and pay it forward. But there's also a side of combat sports where it's all about the clout. It's all about getting attention. And the new thing in combat sports is YouTubers and non-fighters wanting to be fighters. And the latest saga in this phenomenon is KSI versus Dylan Danis. Do you know who KSI is?
I had no idea who KSI was until I saw this article.
So for those of you who don't know, KSI is a YouTuber, and that's all I really know about him. Nico probably knows more than me, but he's a YouTuber that's really famous. A lot of kids like him. He has more followers than probably anybody in, I know for sure, jiu-jitsu. Pretty sure he's more famous than most MMA fighters, and he's getting way more money. And he's parlaying that into a career as an influencer boxer. Is that what we're calling it now? I guess they're all boxers, and I guess all celebrities are influencers. But he is a celebrity boxer now, and his new challenge is against an old nemesis of mine in the grappling world, a guy who I called out for MMA fight a couple years ago. Holy shit, that was so ridiculous. And
I did forget about that.
yeah,
wow.
And Dylan Danis. What do you think about this, like, just on the base level?
Well, first, let's just go back. A little background on KSI, or Olajide Olyanika Williams, JJ Olatunji. Wow, that's a lot of names. That's all one. That's his full name. JJ, I guess.
He must be African or
Definitely.
something.
That sounds very Nigerian. Wow, we don't need to know when he was born. So he's known professionally as KSI. He is an English YouTuber and rapper. He is the co-founder and member of the British YouTube group known as Sidemen, and he is the CEO of Misfits Boxing and the co-owner of Prime Hydration. So that's interesting because I didn't realize he was the CEO of Misfits Boxing, but I did know that this fight is a collaboration between Misfits and Danzin, and it will happen on January 14th in DAZN. What? DAZN?
That's how you present. I think that's how you pronounce DAZN.
Yeah, that's it.
DAZN.
Okay. So yeah, DAZN. How is that DAZN?
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe it's our English.
The grammar Nazi inside of me is very upset with that.
Maybe I don't know. But that's going to happen in London, England. It's interesting. I did not know that he was the CEO of Misfits Boxing and the co-owner of Prime Hydration energy drinks. I would say what I think about this originally is he seems to be a savvy businessman.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect that.
I respect it.
You know, especially... I didn't realize, like, it's one thing to be an internet influencer. It's another thing to, like, engage in something like this hype fight, but you own the promotion. Yeah, that's how you do the damn thing, man. Like, so win or lose, you winning, sir. And you're more eloquent. Anybody, I guess a fucking monkey could be more eloquent than Danis because, like, he's just so unintelligible. Like, even when it comes to smack talk, the video I saw when they're up in each other's face, like, how do you be up in somebody's face and still not be able to get the words out your mouth? Like, how do you still sound like... But anyways, like... I don't respect Danis as a person, but that's not to subtract from his capabilities as an actual martial artist. So, like, when it goes to, like, respect, making money, business, like, who is actually an influencer because they deserve to be watched, to, like, make your money, Olatunji. Make your money.
That reminds me of those Dame Dash interviews he used to have on The Breakfast Club or whenever, when Dame Dash was, like, on social media a lot more. He talks about ownership, and it's a big deal. I think ownership is important. You should be fighting for your ownership. You should be the one that makes the deals so that you're not beholden to someone else and you don't get bossed around. And that was a big issue for me towards the end of my career as a grappler, that I realized there's no way that a grappler can really have any ownership at this point. And people lie and say that they do, but you want to have your own platforms. And yeah, it's a win-win for him because I'm assuming that he's training hard. The guy has multiple streams of income that are probably bringing in a lot of money. He used his platform and grew it to a point where he's going to make a shitload of money to fight Dylan. And even if he gets his ass whooped, he still wins. And he doesn't have to answer to anybody. So good on him. And I've changed my perspective on YouTubers fighting.
Why? Because you personally know a YouTuber that fights?
No. I mean, shout out to Brandon Buckingham. Good for him. That's not why. A lot of people are mad about it. They say, well, you didn't train hard, or you didn't get blood, sweat, and tears to this game. At the end of the day, these are sports. Sports are essentially children's games. They're games for children. Soccer, kids play sports.
I mean, like, but if you think about sports coming from, like, an Olympics background where it was just, like, a whole bunch of men that had to compete naked so, like, they could prove that they were men, like, whatever. As a statement in this podcast and the subject and us not going back thousands and thousands of years, sports are for kids. Keep going.
But it's sports are essentially children's games that are taking...
It's a first world joint. So, like, when we talk about things that matter and things that don't matter, like, yeah, on that level.
And the level to me, of course, certain sports are serious. Boxing, kickboxing, like combat sports are serious, but essentially now, It's all a show. It's show business. And these fights have rules. And martial arts are supposed to teach you how to kill someone who's trying to kill you. But for now, in the first world, these are all just games and it's all entertainment. And you can get your panties in a bunch, but at the end of the day, this is all entertainment. There's a whole lot of fixed fights in different sports. There's a whole lot of gambling on the line. Let's be real here. Shit. I've been to so many jiu-jitsu tournaments where guys are teammates and they have fake matches. Some of your favorite clouded up grapplers have had fake matches. Not me, because we had to fight for real or close out.
The intention was a fake match, or you just happened to have to fight a teammate, so you're obviously not fighting?
It's the same thing.
I mean, no, like, because you can be forced, like, to, like, go up against the teammates in the brackets.
You can be forced, yes. But whether or not you're actually... Because there's a difference between if it's a shoot or it's a work.
Yeah, and it's also, I guess, difference when, like when we're talking about boxing. In boxing, you have to set up a fight. Like, you're not going to randomly, accidentally fight a teammate unless you're in some kind of tournament, and they don't have boxing tournaments. Maybe kickboxing. So
they'll have kickboxing tournaments, but striking is not so much. But grappling, yeah. Plenty of times where they say the rules are you have to compete or nobody wins. It happens at ADCC a lot because there's money on the line. I mean, not big money, but there's money on the line. And guys will just go out there and be like, play role. But in mind, they're like, I'm going to catch you in this and like tap. Me, when I fought Muhammad at ADCC, that fucking match was real. That was real. Oh, yeah,
and we were really fucking pissed off at y'all. Like, what are they doing? And it would be like one thing if they, but like we knew we were dealing with DDS. Like, you really let DDS like fuck around while y'all really fought?
Some people have principles. Some people have principles. I'm a man of principle. I'm a man of principle. I can't do it. If we're gonna say we're gonna fight, like why bullshit? They knew what they were doing setting up those brackets.
I was gonna say there's money on the line, but principle should still trump money. But like,
it's not because here's the deal. Now that guy Kyle Bohm was talking about guys having fixed matches, and people were mad at him. Like, yeah, he's an anti-Semite, Holocaust denier. He's racist. He's a scumbag. Yes, but he was telling the truth. There's a lot of fixed matches, but me, I can't have that on my resume. I can't have someone trying to pull up on me years from now saying, Tim, you were a phony. That time at ADCC against Muhammad, you guys were phoning it in. I can't have that on my resume. I can't talk shit about guys that do steroids for jiu-jitsu tournaments, and then I get popped for steroids, or I have to lie.
Now it's not time to transition to the Liver King, but
that's next up. That's next week.
We're gonna transition.
But nonetheless, I can't have that on my resume because I'm a man of principle. So more power to him. I don't know who's gonna win. I'm probably not gonna watch, and if I am watching, I'm gonna watch it on YouTube the next day or on Twitter. I don't really care who wins or loses. I just hope they both get paid and they entertain the people or the like the teenagers that end up watching it.
The people. I think like it was as we get very jaded with like being professional athletes, we often have to like, open space and respect that, some people just want to fight and they're not going to be professional and they're not going to put in the same work, but they still need a platform. The fact that it's like him and Danis, and I guess something that we didn't bring up, and then like I didn't know it happened. I found out like, but Anderson Silva was boxing. Like, why the fuck were you boxing, sir? Like, why? Like, first of all, Anderson has also come out as right wing. So like, my first statement would be like, yo, I just want legends to be legendary. Stop fighting, just be legendary. But then like, you're also being legendary and like supporting a Trump. So it's like, do we cancel him? Do we not fuck with him because you're a Bolsonaro supporter? Or do we still like respect what you did for the sport? But it gets harder and harder to respect it when like you keep coming out and getting your ass beat in fights that y'all shouldn't be fighting because y'all can't retire when you should be retiring. Although his statements, who did he fight? He fought Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva. Like, why did that happen? Like, why did that happen?
Money.
It reminds me, I don't know, I saw it somewhere on TV where somebody like some kid was trying to come up and get like a picture of him to put on Instagram, and he was like being like really upset, like he was an old man or something, but not really an old man. He was in his body, and it's just like that weird thing of like where you could get bullied into like somebody being like, oh, I'm gonna use you to go viral on Instagram and kind of stuff like that. And that's how I feel like what happened to Anderson Silva. Like he got bullied into taking a fight so that Jake Paul could be like, yeah, I'm going against a legend. And like notably, he came out saying like, yo, this isn't my sport. And like, as a martial artist, I know and respect that. Like you can do MMA and you can do kickboxing. It is not boxing. It is not the sweet science. Like 12 rounds of just throwing them hands is different than kicking somebody in the head. And like, so
there's way less options, and it's very dangerous.
Yeah, so like when people are like, oh, Anderson's a legend, but it's like, he ain't a boxer. Like I would never expect him to win against a boxer because he's not a boxer. Or maybe in his prime when we're trying to put different martial arts up against each other, but that's not what this is. This is taking somebody that's retired and then like putting them to fight, and it doesn't matter how great they were. Like age, and your body is your body, and that shit starts to break down. That's just like chemistry. So, you know, it's interesting, but we just have to like, I feel like, understand what it is. Like it's not necessarily fighting. This is entertainment.
Absolutely. He has to get the bag somehow. I can't shit on Anderson Silva for trying to get the money. As far as him being right wing, for my mental health, I have too much on my mind anyway in life. I just stopped caring about what people do outside of when I see them. Like I watch movies. I don't care what Captain America, the guy who is Captain America, does in his free time. Like it's better for my spirit if I just don't even care about these people and let them exist on my screen. And I can't really shit on a guy's political. I mean, I can, but I'm not going to use that energy because my favorite wrestler growing up, and one of my faves still to this day, is Chris Benoit, and he murdered his entire family. So I can't really, if I'm not going to refuse to watch Chris Benoit matches or just shit on him and just be like, I don't want to see his matches. He's horrible. Oh, this is horrible. Why is he still on TV? Why do people talk about him as a good wrestler? I can't talk about Anderson Silva. But yeah, it's a shame to see the GOATs go out like that, but it's the life you chose, man. You made that decision, and it's really crazy how people are going to gas up Jake Paul, and it's going to add to his resume as a combat athlete or as a star, when anybody with half a brain would know that this is a setup. But people are so dumb nowadays, or there's so many dumb people with platforms or just with louder voices and bad faith actors that they're going to say, oh, well, it's obvious that Jake Paul's legit because he beat up Anderson Silva. That's what people are going to say. They're going to be so reductionist to say, oh, he beat Anderson Silva in the fight, therefore 1 + 1 = 5. He's a better fighter, or this guy's legit, when no, it doesn't really work like that because people aren't very critical thinkers anymore. But you know that. You're an educator.
It's the thing about being a critical thinker. And, you know, it's funny as we close this out. And I guess I saw Black Panther, too, yesterday. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Did you like the movie?
Do you want me to give my review? It won't be long. Do you want me to go
ahead,
off?
because are you gonna go? Let's talk a little bit. Let's end this a little bit on Black Panther too, because let's just say it before I say what I was gonna say.
Okay, I saw what you had to say on Instagram, but I'll say my piece. As a film, they could have cut off like 30 or 40 minutes with it. It could have been a 2-hour movie.
God, yes, thank you. At the 2 hours when I started looking up movie reviews and shit like that. That's when I zoned out.
It could have been a 2-hour movie. I think it could have been a standalone film. I think that it was obviously, it was a lot of oversight from the Marvel Studios, I think, because they had to put in a lot of shit that either. The beautiful part about the first Black Panther movie, it was a standalone movie and it was its own entity for the most part. I mean, it was in the universe, but the whole point of the first Black Panther movie was there was an isolationist country full of people of color that had their own culture, that had their own technology, and they were ahead of the game. The new Black Panther movie, it was like they were a part of the world now, but there was too much. There was not enough about talking about the Wakandans, I think, and the family dynamic. And I like how they incorporated Namor in there. I liked it a lot, but I don't. It was very a colonizer centric movie because it doesn't make sense.
It does.
It does not make sense for the, I guess, Namor.
Namor, can I like say my piece? Like these white people in the first 5 minutes of the movie, these white people go and do some shit. And then they disappear from the entire movie, and you have black and brown people trying to kill each other and wipe out their civilizations through the whole fucking 2 hours and 40 minutes after these white people did some shit in the first 5 minutes and completely disappear. So it is like the epitome of what colonizers do to people of color. And that's why I hate the movie. Hate it. Absolutely, positively think it's disgusting.
But even in the context of it, right? They're trying to make it like kind of like related to history.
When
it doesn't make sense for Namor to be mad at the
Wakanda. How is that exactly? How are the two people?
It did not make sense for Namor to be mad at the Wakandans. Because they both had a common enemy. And it made it look like, okay, so you guys just want to have big battle scenes between superheroes when it doesn't make sense for them to be this way. Because even in the comics, Namor was mad at society above ground because they were destroying the environment. It did not make any fucking sense. Also, way too much of the FBI or SHIELD agent in the fucking movie. And then, like, the fight scenes were cool, but it's like, the ending ended so fucking flat. It reminded me, and people are going to say I'm an idiot in the comments, but that's why I don't like The Dark Knight. Because the ending of the movie was so flat and nonsensical that it killed everything for me. They just killed off people just because I did not like it as much. Like in hindsight, the first Black Panther was so good and it had you thinking about it. It was a totally forgettable Marvel movie, and it's to the point now where the Marvel movies are entirely forgettable to me.
Yeah. My issue is that I feel like the first Black Panther, like black people really embraced it. It's like we're finally on the big screen, and they kind of like tricked us with that. And then in this one, they put in like these subliminal messages of like black and brown people should be fighting. Like, so if black people like rush to this movie like they did to the last one and then see nothing but like, you know, Migo Fridays where black people in DC were like, because amigos are Hispanic people, so like there's like in DC there's all this controversy because like the black people would go out and rob people on Fridays because that's when they got paid and they knew they were illegals and they knew they would have cash. So I see Wakanda too as just perpetuating that like hostility in between black and brown people. And it's like, I want to know who wrote this. Like I feel like there's like when Josie and the Pussycats, which is old school for our female listeners, how like that whole movie was based on like the music industry putting subliminal messages and shit. Like that's the only thing I get from Wakanda 2. And I bring this up right now because like we were talking about critical thinkers and like I was pissed and livid through the movie. But like what I did was like, let me not just go on Instagram and like talk shit, which is what I did. But I also looked to see if there were any reviews talking about it. And there's very little articles because, you know, like movie reviews are a thing. They're a profession. So all of us, we get up in our arms and we're like, oh, you didn't resort to a professional or a writer or somebody that has experience in this. So I was like, let me not just be pissed off. Let me see if like other academics or whatever have seen this. And like realistically, there was one article about how that movie is just like, oh, failed black people in general, like talking about, I don't want to give the spoilers, but like there were people that died for no reason. And it's like, why do we have to see all this black trauma for no reason? Like why? Like, and so I would advise you to stay away from that movie and to actually look for things that actually celebrate black culture and not just pit us against other color.
Man, I don't know, man. Like, I growing up in the DMV, like there's always tension in minority groups, but like blacks and Latinos, like we get along pretty fucking well, at least in my experience in this area of the country. But also, Nico, they're not gonna put out a movie where the black and brown people are like, hey, wait a minute, fuck the government. And then, because then actually, like, you know, because people are very influenced by film, and they're not going to want black and brown people coming together, kind of like in the real world. On that note, thanks again for watching this episode of the BJJ Goons podcast. You can find me on Instagram at TimSpriggsBJJ or Facebook at TimSpriggsBJJ, or on Twitter at MushmasterWins. Nico, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at no new Nico. That's no_new_Nico. Please make sure to follow the BJJ Podcast Instagram as well. And if you're trying to learn Portuguese for Jiu-Jitsu, I have been hella dropping the ball on that because of these 2 jobs. But when I tell you I am free, January 5th, sign up for Portuguese for BJJ.com. And I'm going to be dropping some really dope stuff. I'm actually going to be like traveling around, hitting up some Brazilians and having them film some techniques specifically for y'all so you can learn some Portuguese. And we can all go compete in Brazilian Nationals next year.
Until next time, peace.